Metaverse and Beyond situates avatars and virtual beings within the broader ecosystem of the metaverse. It emphasizes the nested relationship between avatars, environments, and metaverses, while cautioning against simply transporting humans into digital worlds. Instead, it advocates bringing metaverse technologies to people in everyday contexts. It contrasts human-inhabited and AI-inhabited avatars in the metaverse, and defines the intermediary role of virtual beings between immersive digital worlds and physical robotic embodiments. This diagram, Virtual Being Modalities 14, Human-Inhabited Avatars, categorizes virtual beings into three main types: static avatars, human-inhabited avatars, and AI-inhabited avatars. On the left, virtual influencers represent static avatars that are largely asynchronous and pre-produced. In the center, human-inhabited avatars include VTubers, real-time performers controlling avatars, virtual telepresence avatars, such as holoportation systems enabling remote embodiment, and metaverse avatars, user-controlled identities in shared virtual spaces. On the right, virtual robots exemplify AI-inhabited avatars, which operate autonomously without direct human control. The diagram highlights the spectrum of virtual beings, showing the progression from static representations to live human-driven performances, and finally to fully autonomous AI-driven agents. This diagram illustrates virtual beings as the connecting link between the metaverse and physical robots. On one side, the metaverse represents immersive digital environments where virtual beings exist as avatars, influencers, or interactive characters. On the other side, physical robots embody AI in the real world, enabling tangible interaction and action. Virtual beings sit in the middle, bridging these domains by combining the narrative and presence of digital environments with the intelligence and interactivity associated with robotics. This positioning highlights their role as hybrid entities that can operate across both virtual and physical spheres. This diagram presents a layered view of the metaverse, showing the relationship between its core elements. At the center are avatars, which represent individual users' identities and serve as the primary means of interaction. Surrounding avatars are environments, the virtual spaces in which avatars exist and interact, ranging from simple rooms to complex worlds. Encompassing both is the broader metaverse, the overarching framework that integrates multiple environments and enables continuity of identity, interaction, and experience across them. The nested structure emphasizes that avatars are central to participation, environments provide context, and the metaverse functions as the all-encompassing digital universe. This diagram contrasts two models of avatars in relation to the real world and the metaverse, highlighting what is considered effective versus ineffective. At the top, the rejected model, marked with an X, shows human-inhabited avatars, where multiple real people project themselves into the metaverse, essentially duplicating their presence digitally without true autonomy. At the bottom, the accepted model, marked with a checkmark, illustrates AI-inhabited avatars, where an autonomous digital entity originates in the metaverse and then extends its influence or interaction into the real world. The message emphasizes that the future of virtual beings lies not in humans merely controlling avatars within digital spaces, but in AI-driven avatars that can independently operate in both virtual and real-world contexts. This diagram contrasts two conceptual approaches to the metaverse: an inward model, marked with an X, and an outward model, marked with a checkmark. On the left, the inward model depicts arrows pointing into the metaverse, symbolizing a closed system where information, creativity, and interaction are drawn into a virtual space but remain contained within it. On the right, the outward model shows arrows pointing out from the metaverse, indicating an open, expansive system where the metaverse actively projects, influences, and interacts with the wider digital and physical world. The checkmark emphasizes that the outward-facing model is preferred, framing the metaverse not as an isolated destination, but as a platform that extends its impact beyond its boundaries. This diagram presents a progression of virtual beings to physical robots across different modalities of embodiment and interaction, moving from the metaverse to the real world. It starts with virtual influencers, depicted as static and recorded characters, then advances to virtual YouTubers, who are human-inhabited and operate in real time. The next stage is virtual robots, which are AI-inhabited and represent a higher level of autonomy and interactivity. Finally, the progression reaches physical robots, tied directly to hardware in the real world. The upward diagonal arrow signifies increasing sophistication, embodiment, and immediacy, marking the transition from recorded to real-time interactions, from static representations to embodied agents, and from purely virtual existence in the metaverse toward tangible presence in the physical world. This diagram illustrates the layered relationship between the real world, the virtual world, and the avatar. The largest circle represents the real world, encompassing all physical existence. Inside it sits the virtual world, a constructed digital space where interactions and experiences are simulated. At the core of this virtual world is the avatar, a digital representation of the user, or an AI-driven entity, serving as the point of embodiment and interaction within the virtual space. This structure highlights how avatars act as the bridge between individuals and the virtual environments they inhabit, while both remain ultimately contained within the broader real-world context. This diagram conveys the idea that the metaverse should be integrated into people's everyday lives rather than requiring people to relocate themselves into the metaverse. On the left, marked with an X, people are shown being pulled into a separate metaverse space, illustrating the flawed approach of forcing users to leave their natural environments to participate. On the right, marked with a check, the metaverse is shown extending outward into people's real-world contexts, symbolizing the preferred model where immersive technologies and virtual experiences enhance daily life seamlessly. The overarching message is that accessibility and integration, not isolation, should define the metaverse's role for users.